Stop. Just stop for a second and ask yourself this. Why are you still holding on to someone who's already let you go? Why do you keep pouring your energy, your heart, your thoughts into someone who's made it painfully clear they've moved on, they've checked out, or they simply aren't willing to meet you where you are? See, the first rule in emotionally detaching from someone is understanding why you must do it. Not just thinking it's the right thing to do or knowing it sounds healthy, but believing it deep enough that you finally act on it. Because without clarity, without a clear reason to let go, your heart will keep running back even when your mind knows better. Let me be brutally honest with you. Love is not enough. Hope is not enough. Waiting, overthinking, replaying, wishing, it won't make them change. And even if they did change, would you still be okay with the version of you this situation has turned you into? The version that wakes up anxious, that second guesses their worth, that walks on eggshells just to stay good enough in someone's eyes. That's not love. That's emotional survival, and it's exhausting. You can't detach from someone you're still secretly hoping will return. You can't free yourself when your emotional loyalty is still tied to their potential. This is why clarity is the starting point. You have to stop fantasizing about what it could be and accept what it is. And that means taking off the blindfold and looking at the truth that's been staring at you for a while now. They're inconsistent. They disappear when things get hard. They only show up when they want something. Or worse, they breadcrumb you with just enough attention to keep you hooked, but never enough to truly be with you. You keep giving chances to someone who keeps showing you they don't value them. You keep forgiving behavior that deep down you hate. You keep shrinking, adjusting, compromising your peace just to keep the connection alive. But ask yourself, if keeping the connection costs you your dignity, your joy, and your sense of self, is it even worth keeping? Letting go is not weakness, it's clarity, it's power. And emotional detachment begins the moment you stop justifying what broke you. The moment you realize that your healing won't come from another apology, another "I miss you," or another cycle. It begins when you choose to protect your heart over preserving the illusion of a relationship that's no longer real. So if you need a reason to let go, here it is, because staying is slowly destroying the parts of you that once believed in love, and you deserve a version of love that doesn't require your suffering as proof. Don't text them, don't call, don't even check their story. I know your fingers are itching. I know your mind is racing, trying to find just one excuse to reach out. But I need you to understand something right now. Every time you break that silence, you hand over your power. Every message you send says, I still care more than I should. I still need you to respond to feel okay. And that right there is the reason you're stuck. Silence isn't just about ignoring someone. It's about choosing you. It's about taking back your energy, your dignity, and your emotional control. Because real detachment doesn't begin when you block them. It begins when you stop reacting. When you stop hoping for a reply, when you stop checking for crumbs of attention and learn to live like their validation no longer defines you. People always talk about no contact like it's a strategy to get someone back. But let me be clear, this isn't about winning them over, it's about winning yourself back. This is about going cold, not because you're bitter, but because you're finally awake, because you've seen what chasing someone does to your spirit. You've seen what begging for love does to your worth, and you've had enough. Every time you break the silence, even with something small, like a meme, a just checking on you, or a subtle like on their post, it sends a message. You still have access to me. But why should they have access to someone they didn't value? Why should they get the comfort of your presence when they caused the chaos of your pain? Silence creates space. Space for healing. Space for self-reflection. Space for you to stop reacting to them and start responding to yourself. And that space, that's where transformation begins. The more you stay silent, the louder your absence becomes. The more they feel your distance. The more they notice what they once overlooked. And listen, sometimes the silence won't affect them at all. That's okay. This isn't about them. This is about you being done explaining, done proving, done hoping. You don't owe anyone your words when they didn't honor your heart. You don't need to break your silence to see closure. You are the closure. You're the one who ends the chapter, not with a dramatic exit, not with a final message, but with your stillness. The next time your heart screams, say something, remember this. Silence is a full sentence. It says, I'm done. It says, I've let go. And most of all, it says, I respect myself more than I need to be heard by you. Be honest. How many hours have you spent reliving conversations that already ended? How many times have you created an imaginary future with someone who's no longer even present? That, right there, is the real trap. The hardest part about detachment isn't the physical distance, it's the mental obsession. And if you don't learn to master your mind, it will keep dragging you back into a story that's already over. See, the mind is sneaky. It makes you believe that the more you think about them, the more control you have. That maybe, just maybe, if you analyze every word, every behavior, every moment, you'll finally make sense of it all. But here's the truth. Clarity doesn't come from obsession. Clarity comes from redirection. Every time you replay what they said, every time you stalk their feed, every time you ask yourself, what if, you're feeding the connection, you're giving your energy to a person who's no longer in your life, but still living in your mind. And the more you do that, the harder it becomes to emotionally detach because you're still emotionally involved, even in their absence. You have to take your focus back. You have to start asking, what do I want to think about instead? And not, why did they do this to me? Because you will never heal by constantly revisiting your wounds. The mind is powerful, but it can't work for you if you keep programming it to fixate on someone who hurt you. Start small. Replace one thought at a time. When the memories hit, don't fight them. Redirect them. Take a deep breath and focus on something that builds you. A goal, a skill, a dream, a moment of peace. You won't stop thinking about them overnight, but every time you choose yourself over the memory of them, you weaken that emotional grip. And here's the most important part. Don't wait to feel motivated. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline is what saves you. Discipline to stop scrolling. Discipline to stop reading old messages. Discipline to say, this thought doesn't serve me anymore, and move forward. No matter how badly your emotions want to dwell in the past, you have to understand, detachment is not passive. It's an active choice made every single day. You don't wait for time to heal you. You create the healing through what you choose to focus on. When you stop giving your energy to what's gone, you start reclaiming the parts of you that got lost in the process. So if you really want to detach, stop sitting in the ruins trying to rebuild what collapsed. Get up, walk away from the wreckage, and start building something that actually has the power to hold you together. You think you've moved on, but why do you still check their online status? Why do you reread those old messages at night, convincing yourself it's harmless? Why does a part of you still smile when a memory hits you out of nowhere? That's the part of detachment no one talks about. The subtle, quiet habits that keep you emotionally tied to someone you're trying to let go of. Emotional rituals. They seem small, innocent even, but they're powerful, dangerous, because they're hidden in routine. You don't even realize you're still feeding the connection. You save the playlist they made you. You wear their hoodie just because it's comfortable. You glance at their profile just to see if they've posted something, anything that might be about you. It's not obsession, right? It's just curiosity. No, it's a ritual, and rituals are what keep attachments alive. The truth is, you can't fully detach if you're still giving yourself small doses of them in secret. You're not letting go. You're weaning yourself off slowly, painfully, and hoping you won't notice the withdrawal. But your heart notices, your mind notices. Every time you engage in those emotional habits, you reopen the wound. You delay your healing. You keep feeding the fantasy that maybe there's still something there. But tell me, how can something real grow out of what's already been left behind? This is where you have to get real with yourself. Ask yourself, what am I still holding on to? What small habits have I normalized that are keeping this person emotionally alive in my life? Because healing requires honesty. It requires looking at the parts of your routine that are built around them and tearing those pieces down one by one. Delete the saved texts. Stop listening to the song that reminds you of the night they said they loved you. Stop going back to that spot, hoping you'll run into them again. Cut off the triggers. Remove the reminders. This isn't about pretending they never mattered. It's about finally accepting that they don't belong in your now. They're a part of your story, but they don't get to be the main character anymore. And here's what you need to know. It's going to feel empty at first. Cutting off emotional rituals will feel like losing them all over again. But that's temporary. That emptiness is the space where healing begins. You just have to be strong enough not to refill that space with the same behaviors that broke you in the first place. So no, it's not just a song, it's not just a text, it's not just checking their page. Every small action keeps the door open, and you cannot move on if you're still leaving space for them to walk back in. Why does it hurt so much when they ignore you? Why does your heart sink when they don't text back, or worse, when they see your message and say nothing? That pain you feel, it's not just about them. It's about what you've tied your worth to. And until you learn how to validate yourself, you'll keep getting emotionally dragged by people who never even earned the right to define how you feel. Excellent. Let's be real. When you're emotionally attached to someone, their presence becomes your approval. Their attention becomes your oxygen. You start to believe that you're only okay if they're still choosing you, if they're still responding, if they still want you. But that kind of dependency is dangerous because it puts your entire emotional state in the hands of someone else, someone who might not even be thinking about you. Detachment means breaking that cycle, and that starts by shifting the source of your validation from them back to you. You don't need their reply to feel valuable. You don't need their love to feel lovable. You don't need their approval to know you're enough. You just need to reconnect with the part of you that existed before they showed up, and the part that will still exist long after they're gone. Think about this. How many times have you adjusted your mood based on how they acted toward you? How often have you felt amazing when they showed interest and worthless when they didn't? That's not love. That's emotional dependency. And emotional detachment begins when you realize, I am enough even when they don't see it. It takes practice. It takes patience. You start by paying attention to how you speak to yourself. What are the stories you repeat in your head? Are they stories that empower you or stories that keep you small? Every time you feel unworthy because they're distant, you have to pause and remind yourself, this is not a reflection of me, it's a reflection of them. Their silence is not your shame. Their absence is not your failure. Their inability to love you the right way says nothing about your capacity to be loved. Start building your confidence around what you know to be true, not what someone else is willing to give you. Celebrate your growth. Be proud of how far you've come. Be present with yourself in moments of loneliness, and learn to sit with it instead of running back to someone just to feel wanted. Because the truth is, the more you learn to validate yourself, the less you'll crave it from others. And the less you crave it, the more powerful you become. Suddenly, the highs and lows they used to control no longer affect you. Suddenly, you're not waiting on a message, you're building a life. And in that life, you don't need anyone to tell you your worth, you already know it. Tell me this. What's the point of walking away if you're still willing to let the same person walk right back in? What's the point of detaching if all it takes is a late-night text, a half-hearted apology, or a wave of nostalgia to break all your boundaries? Detachment without new boundaries is just a break, and breaks don't lead to healing, they lead to repetition. You've been here before, haven't you? You've said, this is the last time. You've promised yourself you were done, but deep down some part of you kept the door open, just a little, just in case. And that little crack, that's where the pain keeps slipping in. That's how the cycle continues. Because you never really closed the door, you just stood behind it, hoping they'd knock again. But you need to understand something crucial. Emotional detachment isn't just about leaving someone behind. It's about becoming someone new. The kind of person who never again accepts the bare minimum. The kind of person who no longer compromises peace for presence or sacrifices standards just to keep someone around. It's about building boundaries that protect who you're becoming, not who you used to be. And here's the hard part. Those boundaries aren't for them, they're for you. They're the promises you keep to yourself. You don't answer that message, not because you hate them, but because you love yourself more. You don't let them come back into your life not because you want revenge, but because your peace is no longer negotiable. Your time, your energy, your heart, they're sacred now. And not everyone gets access. You have to teach people how to treat you by showing them what you no longer tolerate. You have to stop making it easy for someone to come and go from your life as they please. You are not a revolving door. You are not a temporary escape. You are not a second chance waiting on standby. And I get it. Setting those boundaries will feel uncomfortable. You'll feel cold. You'll feel selfish. But let me tell you something. Protecting your peace is not selfish. It's necessary. Detachment is not just removing someone from your life. It's removing the version of you that allowed that chaos in the first place. So stop romanticizing the past. Stop making excuses for why they acted the way they did. Stop leaving space for someone who didn't value the space they were given the first time. This new chapter you're stepping into, it requires new rules. And this time, those rules protect you first. Because the real flex isn't blocking someone out of anger, it's refusing to open the door again even when your heart whispers that maybe, just maybe, it could be different.